In Liszt's edition, we also find metronome markings, and it's very interesting to compare those metronome markings to Beethoven's original metronome markings. In this table, you see both metronome markings. It's minim 138 for the first movement, Dadet minim 80 for the scherzo, quaver 84 for the adagio, quaver 76 for the largo, and crotchet 144 for the fugue. So all the fast movements remained the same. There is a change for the adagio. Liszt slowed it down a little bit, noticeably down, from 92 to 84. He also changed the largo, and this is now much more surprising because he changed the note value. Instead of semiquaver 76, we find quaver 76. So that basically means that he doubled the tempo. Also, the original remark by Beethoven that one should really count the single semiquavers is missing. Now, that's quite a huge change, and of course, it's as well one of those cases where we can presume that it could be a misprint, and I actually think that it's quite likely that this is the case. It would be a surprising one because the metronome marking is well visible in the edition and could easily have detected, but that's just how it is. But it's different for the adagio. So the adagio really represents an intentional change of tempo, which is very interesting and provides a lot of information, and I'm going to come back to that later. Liszt not only published his own edition of the Hammerklavier-Sonata in 1857, he also talks about its duration. That is almost 20 years later, in a letter that he wrote to the Countess of Sayn-Wittgenstein on October 26, 1876. There he talks about the work, and he says that it took presque une heure, that's in French, and in English it means almost an hour, to play the work. This information is particularly valuable because it's an information that comes out of a performance practice. We could easily imagine Liszt playing the sonata for himself and actually watching the time and realizing that it took almost an hour. Now, if we compare that to Liszt's metronome markings and to Beethoven's metronome markings, we find something amazing, as you can see in this table. The duration resulting from Beethoven's metronome markings is around 33 minutes. More or less, of course, depending on how long the intermissions are between the movements and how big the rubato is, etc., but that's quite an accurate number. It's about 35 minutes for the Liszt version because the adagio is slower. If we compare that to almost an hour and say almost an hour is maybe 55 minutes, we find a difference of 20 minutes, which is huge. Like if we look at the original duration resulting from Liszt's own metronome markings, it's more than half of that duration. What is this? How can we deal with this kind of contradiction? Which of the two is right?